thank you everybody for joining. We do this every Wednesday, 1 p.m. California time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And then we also do every other Thursday. So yeah, we try to answer any immigration question we have. Before Rajiv ji joins, I just want to quickly talk about two things. One is the events that I'm hosting in India. I'll be in India next week, believe it or not. So I will be in India. If you are planning to come to United States, whether fall 2025 or spring, come to this free event. Bring your parents, bring your friends, cousins, relatives, whoever needs to come. It's going to be very, very information filled, valuable information, plus scholarships, etc. So do not want to miss it. And then finally, we are starting to see some results in our ultimate job hunting course and community. I teach resume, LinkedIn, everything is there. Plus, you get to be part of the WhatsApp community. We have few students who got into Meta, Uber, etc. So if you are into job hunting, please come and join our job hunting course and community. And guess what? Rajiv ji is here. So Rajiv, on time. Just got done. How are you?
It's all good, man. How are you doing?
So far, so good. And what happened to your hair? Did you do the same thing?
There are days when I just get violent with my hair. What can I tell you?
Nice. Okay. Uh, I know there is a lot to cover, so I'll ask you a few questions before we get started. And I know there are people who are waiting for their questions. So first is, I saw the article that you uploaded about registration. There's so much confusion. Who needs to register? Does F1 student who just came needs to register?
Anybody who came to this country legally does not need to register
Okay.
unless you are under 14. If you are under 14, you have no business emailing me. Your dad or mom should.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
So,
That's simple.
because what happens is when you get a visa, you are being acknowledged in the system. When you get an I-94, when you change status, all of that is a part of the same continuum. Canadians have a little bit of a tough time because they often don't get an I-94.
Yeah.
They have to register if they did not get an I-94. But Canadians who came on things like TN or L1 through Canadian border, they don't need to register. They're already registered.
Okay. And does that same apply for if they are on OPT, got H1B picked, and they're just...
When they entered the country, they entered legally. End of story.
Got it. Okay. So yeah. So if you came in legally, people don't need to worry about it. There was just so
I
much.
pretty much went over every damn provision of law. And there's nothing there. For people who are legal are fine. And if you want to understand more and actually look at the regulations, which I unfolded.
I did look at yours, yeah.
So I actually went over the regulations and I showed how it works. What is it, section 264 or whatever that was. So just go take a look if you can't sleep at night. Let's give you that original material.
Yeah.
And the first part of that document talks about who needs to register. And the second part talks about what you should carry with you.
Oh,
okay.
You are getting a call?
Yeah, I'm going to have to put them on focus. Don't disturb. Keep going, man. My phone has been ringing almost nonstop for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And this is the phone I don't give anyone. Except you have it.
Yeah.
For 1 hour. 1 hour is fine. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. What you should carry. So that was another part of this whole thing, that people now need to carry their green card with them. They need to carry their passport. Is this like physical copies, or can they have it?
See, I have written it all out. That doesn't need to be repeated. And frankly, I don't even remember because there are so many different types of visas. And for different visas, there are different recommendations. Please review them. That's why I write them down so we don't have to repeat them.
Okay.
The idea is that I still get questions. I mean, people who have read this, I said, you know what? I'm not going to answer your question. Go read it. And if you still have questions, then talk to me. I mean, don't be lazy. Please go ahead and I can understand if you're nervous, but I can't understand if you don't make the effort. I've written it in plain English. Read it. And if you still have questions, that's what we are here for. There would be situations where something doesn't make sense. For example, people were asking me, I did a change of status. Does it apply to me? So, okay, I can understand there's a little bit of confusion. But the bottom line is very simple. Did you sneak through Mexico or Canada? If not, you're registered.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right. And I know there are a bunch of OPT questions because the OPT people probably started last year. They are expiring and they're going on STEM extension. So hopefully they are here. I told them to come here on this session. So hopefully they are here and then we'll go from there.
Let's go. Let's get started.
This is interesting. LinkedIn post of yours on fraudulent consulate numbers calling people is scary. What does this mean?
So this is what happened. A very dear friend of mine, who's a single mom, called me, very nervous. She's a US citizen. She's been a US citizen. She was like 3 years old when she came to this country. And she says to me that I got a call from the US consulate, from Indian consulate in USA, that your visa is being canceled. And if you don't call us, you will be put in prison. And there was a guy called Prem Kumar. When she called that number, Prem Kumar picked up, and Prem Kumar talked to her with a lot of prem. And obviously, he was trying to threaten her. So, and she said, you know what? I checked the number, the caller ID, and it is the number of the US consulate. So I said, do me a favor, Google it. Google fraud Indian consulate and see what comes up. And she says, well, there looks like a lot of material here, but he has the Indian consulate's number on his caller ID. I said, that's not difficult. It is not difficult to spoof the number you're calling from. Okay. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Next time he calls you, just tell him to go date himself. Okay. And then the next thing is I started getting these calls. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, are you stupid? You know?
Yeah, I got a call last week as well that there was some weird bank transaction and Delhi embassy is like, wanting to contact me. I'm like, and they're like, so what is your name, number? I'm like, well, wouldn't you have all of this if you're calling me?
Would you like me to give me your social security number? You know, that's what happened to me. All of this has been happening in the last few days.
Right.
Hello, I'm calling from da-da-da-da. I'm looking at your bank accounts and reconciling. I think we have overpaid you. I said, oh, yeah? He says, yeah. Can I have your social security number? I said, no. Can I have yours? So,
right. Yeah.
So I invited him to date himself and,
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So we'll just start with the questions. Applied for H1 renewal premium March 25, got RFE and asked to submit biometrics before petition is approved. I've been on H1 since 2019. Have you heard about similar cases on H1?
No, this is new. Have you, since 2019, I-140? I've never heard of this. None of our cases has ever gotten this RFE that go get biometrics. Was it because, well, there is no employment authorization involved? I can't think why, Abhishek ji. Hold on, let me just see. I'm just checking.
Yeah. Also, while Rajiv is checking,
it's not usually the case, but it can happen. Although I don't understand what is the USCIS has the authority to require biometrics from anyone seeking any immigration benefit. Why are they typically not required? USCIS may waive the biometrics. we've never received one. So let's just put it this way, Abhishek ji, you are loved, specially loved. I wouldn't
Mm,
worry about it. Go give your biometrics. It's okay.
mm, okay. All right. Also, just ask your question once. You don't have to ask it 10 times because
No, you can
then.
ask 10, but don't ask 11 times. That's the end of our patience.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get to it. I mean, we'll get to as many people as we
Yeah.
can.
Wanted to follow up. I feel my previous question wasn't fully addressed. I'm currently working as a lecturer in computer science at a university in United States, and
Okay.
then came here in 2022 for my master's program and graduated in 2024. Since
Okay.
then, I've been teaching at university and currently on OPT with my STEM OPT starting in June. Okay.
Okay.
My university is planning to file an H1B cap exempt petition for me. And I'm also on in EB2 perm process. Prior to moving to US, I had 3 years of experience in software industry in India.
Okay.
Now I'm at crossroad. On one hand, I am considering transition back to software industry, but I'm concerned about the ongoing layoff and the uncertainty surrounding the H1B lottery. Okay. And on the other hand, I'm thinking that about staying in academia, possibly pursuing a PhD here while continuing my teaching role as a way to further enhance my career. I would really appreciate if any guidance or suggestion you may have regarding this decision. What factors should I consider while choosing between these paths?
So the choice is start working for the university or start doing your PhD. Can you go back? What are the choices? I forgot the choice.
It looks like one hand is transitioning back to software industry. Hmm.
But Anudeep ji, why do you have to make that choice right now? I mean, you said I'm concerned about ongoing layoffs. So look, we've gone through these economic cycles many times.
Hmm.
Big layoffs, huge hires, then again layoffs. This happens. Feast and famine is a part of the cycle. My observation, people who are really good at what they do always have a job. And who are people really good at what they do? People who really love their job. Okay. One of my clients' wives was complaining that he never comes home. He's always at work. I said, well, that's why he can send you to Paris for shopping. Okay. Because he loves what he does. And, and she said, I thought you were going to help me. I said, what am I going to do? I'm his lawyer. I'm not his daddy. I can't tell him what to do. So the point is, when you fall in love with what you do, I had a note from one of my lawyer colleagues who said, you guys work very long hours. I said, I don't know about the rest of the people, but I'm pretty much working 7 days a week these days. And it's very tiring at times. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I would not have it any other way. Okay.
Hmm.
And on top of that, people asking us to take litigations. I said, I'm so committed in our transactional work. So what did I do? I had a completely different track where I started from. I was a litigator. Okay. And then I went into transactional practice. They both were okay for me because I liked what I did. So for you, you have software, the practical side, and software, the teaching and research side. And I think they can live together too.
Hmm.
Okay, there's no reason why you can't go into industrial research. Okay, that would be an easy one. I don't think it's a choice. Immigration law wise, I can't give you any advice except to say, for me, it's easier to get you a green card if you have a PhD. Why? Because NIWs are easier for researchers. NIWs are easier for people who are academics. People who are doing research in the private industry, it's still difficult. Unless you are publishing for the whole world, government will say, okay, you are helping Pfizer. How are you helping the country?
Hmm.
So if you are an academician and working in academic research, getting a national interest waiver is much easier. But I don't have any preference. I think they both can live together under the same roof. Your love of research and your desire to also make big loads of money. Why not?
Nice. Okay. Hey Yuri, if I'm pursuing a major in computer science with minor in actuarial science, I think I might go towards a career in actuarial science. Will my OPT get approved for a job in actuarial field?
So yeah, you have to, because you come under the M part of STEM, right? The mathematics. So you have to make sure that your program matches, the zip code, the codes that are responsible for classifying your job category. That those codes are STEM. Talk to your DSO and make sure you have OPT, and OPT everybody gets, but STEM OPT you need STEM degrees, and the actuarial sciences are a part of the mathematics.
No, but I think he's saying if his job is in that field, yeah.
Yeah, what he's asking. My first year OPT you get. Question is STEM OPT. So I'm kind of reading between the lines, and I hope I'm reading it correctly. So
Yeah, you are one step ahead. Got it. Okay. What is AR11 filing requirement while in F1 and change of status H1B?
even the DSOs that I have asked haven't told me a clear thing. Okay, I haven't looked at the regulations. I'll be honest. I was a little lazy, but here is my simple answer. It doesn't cost you anything. AR11 is a simple 3-minute form. Fill it out. How does it bother you? Normally, SEVIS is supposed to keep track of students while they're in school. That was my understanding always. You don't need to file AR11. But why not? Does it hurt you? Double check with your DSO. I don't see why. You can file.
Okay. I'm on STEM OPT and full-time. My H1B was picked with consulting. Since my employer doesn't file for H1B, what's the latest date I should switch to contract from full-time with the same employer?
I'm not following this question.
I'm assuming that his consulting. Sam, maybe just rephrase your question instead of us assuming.
I'll tell you what I don't understand. So I understand the part. I'm on STEM OPT full time with somebody. H1B was picked by somebody else. Since my employer doesn't file H1B, what's the latest date I should switch to contract from full time with the same employer? So are you planning to change over to the H1B?
I understand he's working for this consulting or staffing firm and he has a client and the H1B is from this consulting firm but the consulting firm doesn't want to do the petition. So can he switch to that client?
So on OPT, basically, you can do it today if you want.
But then H1B will be gone, right?
Well, if they are not filing the H1B, so it's gone already, right? That's why this question doesn't make sense.
Okay. So he's wondering if he switches, can his H1B also be transferred over?
H1B doesn't travel with you. H1B stays with the employer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on OPT. I need to go to India for my wedding. Is it safe to travel now? What precautions to take?
मेरे को लगता है कि अगर मैं इसको बोलूंगा डेंजरस है तो इसकी वाइफ मेरी सुपारी निकाल देगी. Ajay साहब, I am scared to answer this question, but who knows? OPT, remember in that same document, actually I have a separate document that I'm still working on, which is what should you do at the port of entry. I have a draft ready, but that's basically an AI generated draft. I have reviewed 99% of it, but I need to make some changes. So the bottom line is, it is safe to travel, probably. Why? Because you don't know what kind of CBP officer you're going to get. So if you have a clean history as a student, you can prove that you have maintained status. You can prove that you have a job when you come back, and you can prove that you are doing this job right now. So if all these things are met and you have a visa stamping, why not? It's okay to travel, but you can still get into trouble. Who knows what kind of silly questions they ask. I'll tell you this. There are horror stories about people getting into trouble, but for each horror story, there are maybe 1,000 to 10,000 people who had no problem. Okay, so is it dangerous to travel? Well, it definitely is more dangerous during the Trump administration because it doesn't make sense what they're doing. At least not from where we are looking at it. So all I want to say is please tell Mrs. Tupe to be that I didn't discourage you. I just told you the facts.
Okay. Right. I graduated in May 2024. Now currently doing an unpaid internship. I have report contracted as part-time for OPT. However, I'm fulfilling 20 hours per week. Will this cause a problem for my STEM OPT extension?
See, this is what the government is doing. And I have been warning of this for years. Okay. I've been telling, if you go back to my postings, I probably started talking about this 10, 15 years ago. I said, look, private companies cannot give you an internship except when they meet the requirements of Fair Labor Standards Act. Fair Labor Standards Act says a private company, which is for profit, when I mean private means for profit. Non-profits have different rules. It's much easier. Their internships are much easier. If for-profit firms have to take free, internship, they have to design a program that is for the students, not for your benefit, the employer's benefit. And if it's violative of Fair Labor Standards Act, then the student has lost his OPT. And I don't know how they come to that great conclusion, because that's not a correct conclusion. But for them, they say because if the employment was violation of the law, then the OPT is a violation of the law. So even in internship, be careful. An internship with a professor is easy because it's academic. It's a part of the university work. Non-profits are easy. Okay. Or even for-profit companies, like bigger companies, who have a well-designed program for internship, where the focus is on training you rather than getting free work from you, they are okay.
Okay.
And even smaller companies, we have a program designed for internship. It's just that we don't go to office anymore. But we used to have 1 or 2 interns every year.
Yeah. But tell me this. So what if, can a company hire 1099, which is a project based, and the payment is based on project?
Yeah. So that's a different situation. Okay. So for example, let's say you are a developer. Okay. And you come to me and say, Rajiv, can we do an internship for your firm? I said, look, we don't do internships because it takes us a lot of time for law, I can understand, but for non-law jobs. But here's what we'll do. We'll design a program for you. It's basically for your education. You give me your first draft. You know what we do. Tell me what can you do in terms of technology for us. And this is for you, not for us. So even if you don't complete the project, I don't care.
Yeah.
We'll put it in writing like that this is our program, and you're not expecting to get paid. If you get paid, great. But I'm actually going out of my way to help you. Okay. Something like that is acceptable. Even for smaller firms. We're not 3,000 employees. And nor do I want to be. Even with this, I am pretty tired already. So, actually, to be truthful, more charged than tired most of the times.
Yeah.
Because it's one challenge after another, one new thing after another.
Yeah, it keeps you going.
Yeah, it's the curse. May you live in interesting times. So we live in very interesting times. And the hard part is, on the other side of the interesting times are people getting hurt. And that's what is problematic. If you're playing Sudoku, it's fun. But when you're playing with other people's lives, it's not that much fun.
Yeah. To complete the example, you said this one example.
So that's one area. Or if I say, okay, Yudi, here's what you do. You come in and you do XYZ because that will help our firm. You write these macros or you write these JavaScript.
Yeah, you create 5 landing pages. Whatever.
Now you are helping me. And that's not internship. Right. And I want you to finish the project. That's not internship.
Yeah. But can it be 1099? Like, can it?
Okay, so that's one part. Now, what you are asking me, now, this is another hypothetical. Now, the third one is where I said, you know what? I don't have an internship, but I do have project-based work for you. Okay. I can't pay you $600 an hour, but I can pay you $40 or $30, whatever the amount is reasonable for your work. Okay. Yeah. And that we will pay you. And we'll be happy to document that for you, that you work that many hours for us. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, does the compensation have to be a certain amount? No, as long as it is not minimum wage, above minimum wages, equal to above minimum wages. I don't see why you're required to pay a certain amount on a 1099.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. I am on F1 visa right now, but have EAD through economic hardship. I'm working in restaurant, and my manager doesn't want me to leave. Let me leave when my EAD expires. Is there a way he can sponsor me for EB3?
So I don't know which country he's from because his country might have some countries have some visas that could be used, like Australian E3. But this is just restaurant management. It's not really. You can't do an H2B because that's for seasonal employment, not for permanent jobs. Your employer can start a green card for you, uh, Mr. Olusumer. They can start a green card because you are from a country other than India. Uh, in a couple of years, you might be very close to or almost have your green card. So while you finish school, your employer may not be able to keep you right now, but they can hire you once you get your green card. That's the only thing I can recommend. I can't think of a visa that would work for you. Oh yeah, I just thought of one more thing. Sometimes exchange visitor visas can work. They're called J1 visas. So Google J1 practical training. Okay, J1 practical training agencies. What these agencies do is they can bring you into the country on a J1 and then put you to work for practical experience in restaurants. And this happens in many industries, even in teaching jobs. Just make sure the J1 does not have a home residency requirement where you have to go back to your home country after you finish your training. Okay. So look for J1, um, J1 practical training agencies.
Okay.
Okay. And they make an arrangement with your employer. They get paid a certain amount of money, but then you keep the rest of it.
Yeah. H1B was picked with consulting. What's the latest date I should switch to contract from full time with the same full time employer?
Okay, what I think you're asking me is when does my H1B get activated? I think that's what you're asking me. And that happens when your H1B is approved, it will have a start date. And usually it is October 1st. Okay. And that's when you automatically switch to H1B if you have asked for change of status.
Okay. When driving ticket dismissed, driving ticket dismissed and a misdemeanor for interrupting 911 call, I-140 approved, H1B renewal for fourth time. Can there be an issue with H1B renewal?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. My daughter is 15 and she has not given her fingerprints in the past during visa stamping. We have submitted G325R, but it did not schedule for fingerprint appointment. Is this normal?
Mahichi, as long as you have submitted the form, you're fine. Why worry? So,
Yeah.
because this process just started 3 days ago, so who knows what is normal and what is not. And also, in this administration, it's very difficult to tell you what is normal.
Okay. Was working with H4 EAD valid till May 2025. Got H1B approval from new company in October 2024. Left old job November 2024. Worked on H1B for 3 months. Left H1B job February 2025. Filed change of status back to H4. Have a receipt, no approval yet. Is my original H4 EAD still valid or must I wait for H1 approval?
So, if you ask some of the more aggressive colleagues in the immigration bar, they'll tell you if you look at the regulations, the EAD regulation says until the EAD is actually revoked, it's still valid. Okay. I'm not so sure because I am an immigrant myself, so I have to think about the number of ways the government can get at something. So, what I would have you do is try calling the USCIS. Okay. Get on the phone, and once you get the information, note it down, the date, the time of the call. When we say document something, often we'll tell you document something. That means as soon as possible, when the incident is done, sit down and write down who, what, when, where, how, why, everything that you remember about it. Which date, to whom did you speak, What did they tell you? As far as possible, write down the exact words. Now, what does that do? If the more aggressive colleagues that we have, they say, well, EAD is valid. I am more conservative. I say, you know what? Let's just file another EAD. Okay. But the more aggressive colleagues, they have their point of view. We are lawyers. We are supposed to be able to push things. But remember, on the other side, there's a lot of discretion in a lot of things. The problem is not that they are right or wrong. The problem is suing them takes time and money.
Mm, mm,
So with USCIS, the good rule is the best thing to do is to avoid an argument. And if you don't want to avoid an argument, then be ready to go all the way to court. Okay. So I would say contact the USCIS customer service, write down what they tell you. And if they say it's okay to use it, I would say that's probably reasonably safe. If they say it's not okay to use it, next step is contact your congressman's office and make sure it's not a Republican congressman. Let them find out.
F1 to H1B in 2021. Okay. I sent form 8843 to IRS in 2020. Was not working, but then changed my location. So don't know if IRS got it. No SSN in 2019. Shall I just file 8843 form now again in 2025?
So
Not
sorry.
sure.
You got the wrong person. I am the guy who almost failed the tax exam. So all I can tell you is this. For immigration law purposes, either your tax history should be clean or you should be in the process of cleaning it up, which you are. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to call the IRS, and they have a helpline, except maybe by now Elon Musk has fired them because they fired like 10,000 people. So call the help desk and ask them the same question, document it. Okay. And then double check with the CPA, a certified public accountant. Just say, this is what IRS is telling me. Is this right? And then document that also. I talked to a CPA, that's what he told. And then act accordingly. I don't even know what this 8843 is.
I mean, that is something you have to file as a non-resident when you don't make any income.
Oh, you do? Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never filed it. There were plenty of years I made no income.
But were you non-resident?
No, I was a student.
Non-resident for tax purposes, I guess that's the term.
Yeah, that definition is different, right? 180 days or some such rule. Yeah. Don't know. Sorry.
All right. If the job is in a field, which was my minor and not a major, that is actuarial science, does OPT get approved for jobs related to minor?
You have to talk to your DSO about that. I'm not really clear about how OPT would work, but in H1Bs, we often get approvals with minors. So if for example, if I get somebody's degree evaluated and they say, you have a major in biology with a minor in computer engineering. Okay. I can get a job in computer engineering, H1B. I don't know how OPT would work.
If you file a lawsuit for service termination, will this lawsuit be a problem in future change of status application or new visa trials?
Before Trump, no. After Trump, who knows? Okay. But there are hundreds of students who have filed lawsuits. I keep track of all the lawsuits, what's going on. Courts are giving TROs. One got denied today. I don't know why. So exactly what the reason was, we don't know yet. But plenty of temporary restraining orders have been given. That means courts are maybe leaning towards the fact that these cases are going to be won, because you can't get a TRO unless it looks like you're going to win the case. Okay. But TRO standards are a little lighter than temporary injunction standards. So TRO is very short, just a couple of weeks, something like that, or 3 weeks. But then comes temporary injunction, which comes into play while the case is pending. So while the litigation is going on. Some of the responses I saw from the government were astonishing. Okay. So they're trying to change their mind about a bunch of things. So if there's somebody here who wants to know more about it, we can talk about it. Let's keep going.
Okay. My H1B just got approved. My wife is in India. She wants to come here on H4. What are the things she needs to keep in mind for her H4 interview without me?
So 90% of people I know, they went for H4 visa interview without you. I mean, without their husband. Okay. You being the prototypical husband.
Yeah.
What things she needs to keep in mind? Just marriage certificate, proof of marriage. If she wants to be overly cautious, maybe take a few pictures together, and maybe all the uh, G-rated conversations between you and her uh, that she can share with the government.
Okay. Okay. Harshit is asking, my name is, sorry, my employer is not willing to sign final evaluation page 5 or I-9 983. What are the worst and best case scenario? I have constantly followed up, but no success. Currently on STEM extension and laid off.
Worst case, you are out of status. Um, yeah, I think so. Um, check with your DSO. What can you do? What should you do? Best case scenario, the DSO can work out a solution.
But what's his fault if his employer is not willing to sign? If they are laying.
What is all the students whose service were revoked? What is their fault?
Mm.
It's only naive, innocent people who ask about why me, why me, why me. It is what it is. You deal with it.
That is so weird. Okay. All right.
Why did your kitchen blow up?
No, I mean, if I am laying off someone, I won't like if
Yeah,
I'm laying.
see, employee, you don't know what happened, what kind of people he's dealing with, what kind of relationships they have. So who knows? I mean, we can't comment about that. I can only tell you what you can do. Either you are out of status or your DSO can figure out a solution.
Okay. Can the parent ask they be heard in the front of immigration judge if the CBP challenges entry for an elderly green card holder? Don't allow for paternity
Yeah.
X.
Just don't sign the form, which is the surrender of the green card form. N407, I think that's the form. Don't sign that form. Oh, no, sorry, I407. Don't sign that form. Don't sign anything you don't understand. And just say, yeah, I want to go before an immigration judge. Okay, so they can pick the green card. They can take the green card, give them evidence of, something is going on. And over the next 1.5, 2 years, they'll get a notice to appear from an immigration court. And then you tell the judge your story.
Okay.
Can
I switch to cap subject employer currently on cap exempt H1B?
Once you go through the lottery, yes.
Okay. There we go. I am on F1 visa and I recently renewed my Indian passport in USA and it came after old passport was expired. Will there be any problem given that SAV is being terminated recently?
I don't think so, Sagarji. I think you're fine.
Okay. Deported with excess debt in cards and loan. If unpaid loans will affect only in USA or in India or any country, never to US again, never coming back to US again. What are the future consequences the collection department can claim in India?
If the amount is big enough, I know one guy who got chased to India because he owed $800,000.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he got chased to India. But for a few $1,000s, $10,000, $20,000, nobody's going to chase you. Does it impact other countries? I only practice the law in the United States. I don't know what other countries' laws are. Even in the United States, unpaid debts are not a part of the equation for any immigration purpose unless you owe the government any money. Or child support. That's another one.
Okay. My OPT ends in August and I have STEM OPT. If I don't get a job by then, is switching to H4 a good option? My husband got his H1B last year.
Did you just say ghost?
Uh, yeah, like God and His.
I got to do it. I got to do it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Rituji, I mean, it's such an open-ended question. It's if you ask an AI large language model, is it good for me to switch to H1? Who knows? Because
Mm,
how do you define good? What does that mean? Obviously, if you have STEM OPT and you don't get a job, first of all, remember your job has to be only 20 hours. Okay. Also remember, if you work for a startup and they are paying their employees more equity than salary, they can do the same with you also. Okay.
mm,
So there are options that you may have. Also, you are allowed to be X number of days unemployed, right? That's total 150, 90 plus 60 combined, right? So once all that is close to an end, you can switch to H4. It's a good option if you are married, obviously. So why not?
mm. Okay. Currently in States, if I work in Canada for a year in an American company subsidiary and then come back to America on L1B visa, and then in the next 5 year limit, can I transfer to L1A?
No. Because for an L1A, for EB1C, you should have worked as a managerial employee or executive employee for at least 1 year outside US. You worked as a technical employee. You came on L1B. There is a provision in the law that says we can actually give you a promotion and get you an L1A, but you can't get an EB1C through that method. You can get an L1A. For EB1C, you still have to be outside USA for 1 year full time as a managerial or executive employee.
Okay. Currently on H1B, I have a pending DWI, working to get that dismissed. DWI.
See, your case is a little better because what is happening with DWIs was that the consulate will send you a visa revocation. They can, but they'll also tell you as long as you are in the United States, you are okay. You can continue working, continue extending. The problem with the students was what happened was, frankly, I think it's just a pretext, bahana. They got the consulate to revoke visas because Marco Rubio has a very weirdly worded command out there based upon which some visa actions can be taken and
Mm,
people can be put in deportation or exclusion. That's not that easy to apply on H1B. Can it be done? Yeah, probably, but you'll have a much stronger case than a SEVIS violation. There
mm,
is much lesser of a discretion, although the principle, I guess, is the same, but they're not doing it on H1Bs. So at least not so far. Should you be worried? What is the point of worrying? What can you do? Right? So just we'll see what happens.
okay. I'll be traveling to India this September and my passport is expiring in November. I plan to renew my passport within September, have valid H1B visa until April 2026. Will there be any issues while traveling to India?
No. If you get your passport renewed, no problem. Typically, the way it will work, Srijita ji, is that you'll have the old passport with the visa stamp and the new passport both together, and that's sufficient.
Yeah. Okay. Would working with Desi Consulting Company on STEM for a legit client, FANG, which is Facebook, Apple,
Yeah.
on 100 base cost problem in the future while applying for H1B?
Yeah, I have always maintained, um, last time I looked at this law, I don't think that STEM OPT people can be sent to work at other companies. The only way that can work is the Desi company has its own group working with its own manager and you're reporting to that manager. Because the idea is when they sign the STEM I-983, they say, I'll supervise you. But then you can't farm me out to somebody else. How are you supervising me? There's some argument that companies say, oh, we talk with him every week and we share screen and look at his work. I don't know if it works. So that's really, I don't think that's a good thing to do for most people. Now, what if you've done it, and when it comes time to do your H1B, you apply for consular processing of H1B? No questions asked. What if you do H1B change of status? You could have definitely some questions. But these questions should not vitiate your future, at least pre Trump era.
Hmm.
The way these guys are interpreting the laws, um, I mean, what is that law, Alien Enemies Act? What 1900s, early 1900s law, or maybe not even 19, maybe 1800s, not 18, very, very early law. Okay, based upon which all this emergency has been created. So who knows what these guys are doing? I think most of them don't have a life. They stay up at night because they can't sleep. All the sins. They try to find ways to make other people's life miserable, whether or not that is helping the country or not. They don't really care.
Yeah. Okay. Planning to run Delaware LLC from India, applying for a founder O1A visa. Could being an international founder affect my short-term B1, B2 application? Should I directly pursue the O1 instead?
So as long as you don't tell an untruth, as long as you're truthful about what you're planning to do and doing, B1, B2 is definitely a good choice to begin with. And if they deny it, O1A is always an option, right? So when option A automatically brings you to option B, why should you go to B? First go to option A, right? That's just common sense, right? So why not try it?
I'm traveling domestically from Denver to California, but I have a speeding ticket, no biometrics taken, did not get cuffed or anything. Is it okay to travel?
You didn't tell me what your status is.
Yeah, Ankit.
So if you are a student and your service has not been impacted, just check on that before you travel. Uh, Second, if you're on H1B, I don't see any issue. I don't
And
know.
even if he's a student, domestic travel could because it's
Well, he is. He's. I don't know if he's driving or he's driving from Denver to. It's probably taking the plane. He should be okay. I don't see any reason to worry.
okay. Right, my F1 visa is expiring in May 2025, but my course finishes in April 2026, mentioned in I-20. Can I go in August 2025 during my semester break to renew my F1 visa? But if I don't get visa scheduled in August, what can I do?
Yeah. So that means you should not go that close to the edge. Um, I don't know. Your course is finishing in April 2026. So if you can avoid travel, that would be a good thing because what is the guarantee you'll get your visa stamp?
Mm, yeah. Indian citizen on F1 visa. If my spouse is a Nepali citizen and marriage registered in India, can she get F2 visa? Should we apply F2 visa from India?
She can because uh, she's married to an Indian citizen. So she could apply in Kathmandu or she could apply in India.
Okay. Does working with LLC as an unpaid intern while on post-completion OPT for 60 days cause problem for STEM extension?
We discussed that in detail in the beginning of this discussion. And I told you that unless it's a true internship, which means they're not using you just to get work from you, and it's not a violation of the Fair Labor Standards Act, then that OPT is okay, or that work is okay.
Is it possible to do summer internship after my graduation in May 2025 under OPT?
You can, I mean, if your OPT is already activated, you can do whatever you want as long as it is in your own field, right? And
Yeah,
it's
I
at
think
least 20
people
hours.
relate internship as CPT typically, so that's probably why the question.
No,
That's my
so OPT does not require you to be paid. The difference between internship and a paid job is simply money, right? So assuming that you're asking us about or asking me about being able to do an unpaid job on OPT, sure, First year of OPT you can,
or paid internship.
or paid internship also you can do, as long as it's in your field at least 20 hours.
Applied National Interest Waiver EB2 September 2024 and EB1A this month. Filing H1B, need I-140 for H4 EAD. Should I premium EB2 or EB1? Does H1B, H4 EAD bundle still help?
Bundling is not, as far as the reports I'm getting, there is no bundling anymore because the agreement expired in January. So that Idakuni settlement expired in January. So there is no bundling, at least I haven't heard of one. Should you premium EB2, EB1, or both? That's your call. I don't know if your case is strong. If your case is strong, is EB2 stronger than EB1? Are they both pretty strong? Premium them both. We are filing most of our cases premium because people don't want to wait. And frankly, whether you file premium or non-premium, the end result is pretty much the same. You're still getting RFEs of the same kind where it's obvious they've not even looked at the case.
Okay. Are there any new regulations with this government for H1B approval rate if you mention work location as home, since it's a remote position? Tips on how to best describe job duties resume for H1B application.
More than 50% cases are remote. These days,
Wow.
remote has become the normal. Okay. Never had a problem with approvals because it's remote employment. As to how to best describe job duties, I suggest 3 years of law school. I can't tell you. Basically, just make you up, right, Yudi?
Yeah.
So, Purabji, basically, the job description has to be truthful. It has to be at the right level. You can't be paid level 1 salary and doing a level 4 job.
Yeah.
And it should be clear that this job requires a degree, your kind of degree. Remember, never lie. But 3 things have to be balanced. Okay. So, truthful, obvious that degree is required, and leveling should be correct.
Okay. If my I-140 was approved for over 180 days and later revoked by previous employer, and my new employer hasn't filed my new I-140 yet, can my wife still get or renew her H4 EAD?
Yes, she can.
Nice. Okay. My F1 visa appointment got cancelled, and in email it's clearly mentioned that I can book appointment in July, and service is getting expired on May 30th. So I need a slot before that. Is there a chance?
Okay, what does visa have to do with service?
Yeah. Not sure.
Zubairji, you should talk to your DSO. I don't even understand what is the correlation between your visa and your service. Service depends upon your status, which probably is DS. Now, unless you tell me my I-94 is expiring, which is unlikely, but there are students with the limited I-94 duration. Most of you have DS. So then visa expiration doesn't count as long as you're maintaining status. Going to school or OPT or STEM OPT, all of that is status. So visa stamp expiring does not take you out of status.
My husband is on H1B, but we used EAD from EB5. But due to annoyed, we are thinking to go back on H1B. We still have valid H1B. Do we have to do country out, or do we have to go out of country?
Yeah, it's what is Sardala? I was looking at the Punjabi. I haven't read that for a while. Sardala. I don't know what that means. Hello, my husband is on H1B, but we used EAD from EB5. But due to notice of intent to deny, we are thinking to go back on H1B. Yeah. You'll have to go get a visa stamping done in order to activate your H1B. But you can go to any country around here. Doesn't have to be India.
Okay. OPT expiring soon, and have I-485 filed pending based on spouse to US citizen. I am eligible for STEM extension. Should I file for STEM extension?
Well, if you don't get your if you don't get your EAD, The big advantage is STEM extension filing gives you 180 days to continue working. So obviously that is the answer. Otherwise, you don't have any continuity in work, right? Who knows when your EAD through your wife is going to come? If it comes, then you're okay. You can let the STEM OPT go.
My OPT start date is my I-20 on my I-20 is 14th April, and I am planning to apply today. And I-20 is valid until 20th April. Would this affect my OPT approval as my start date in the past from my 765 submit date? A little lost.
No idea. So basically, Suchitra ji, there are 3 different times that you have to kind of juggle in OPT. The first time is that you can only file for OPT, and I don't remember the times, X number of days before your course expires or course is finished, and Y number of days after the course is finished. So before, after, there's a time period during which you can apply for OPT. Second, the DSO has to approve it, and they give you a certain number of days within which to apply, and you have to apply in that time. So there are multiple times that have to be balanced, and your DSO can help you decide what is a good time to put. Because in OPT, so this is what the DSO said. The DSO said from 14th, this is probably what I'm trying to understand. From 14th, you have 30 days to file. Okay. I-20 is valid till 20th. That doesn't make sense. Because, okay, I understand what she's saying. She's saying, would this be affecting my OPT approval? As my start date is past 765 submit date. So my I-20 is expiring. The DSO gave me I-20 beginning 14th, but they should have given you all the way to 30 days, right? So you should have 30 days to apply for the OPT. Okay. I don't understand this situation. I'm not quite clear, but I'm trying to figure out. So what is the solution? Make sure that if you need a new I-20, they should issue you a new I-20.
Okay. Service termination, various lawsuits going on. What are the chances of nationwide TRO injunction? Any lawsuit that you are aware of? F1 undergrad.
Like 20, 30 lawsuits. Okay. Because we do have a discussion group where we understand what everybody is doing. Okay. People are sharing knowledge and helping each other, which is very nice to see. Very collegial. Is there a chance of a nationwide TRO? Well, injunction, actually. I think it's very difficult. And in the beginning, when people were talking about it, I did mention, I said, I don't know how you will form a class. Because to form a class, you need similarity of facts. You remember we talked about it.
People last time
wearing black shirts, So I think what is happening is a lot of lawyers have taken the right approach. In my mind, it's the right approach. Instead of filing class actions, they're filing bulk actions. Combine 20, 30 people in one suit. Okay. That's called joinder. So while that is helpful to the students who are there, it is not helpful to students who are not there. But if we wait another week, 2 weeks, we'll know if temporary injunctions are coming in. And they are a much better sign than TRO. TRO is very short, very brief, just a few weeks. Temporary injunctions could last all through the lawsuit, which could be a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
But that tells us where the court's heads are. So.
Yeah. I've noticed wrong travel entries in my travel history. Should I be worried? How should I approach this issue?
So not sure what wrong travel entries means. If it's a mistake made by US government, like CBP, that can be corrected. Go talk to CBP. Tell them these entries are incorrect. They should be able to fix them.
Okay. I'm on advance parole as I'm waiting for my marriage-based green card. I'm going to visit my family next month as a family emergency. What should I take during travel?
Technically, you only need your advance parole and your passport.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm assuming you're not taking your husband with you, the ultimate proof of your marriage. But I don't think that should be required. I think those two things should be sufficient, unless there is something in your background that causes you to fear that, I have this black mark against me, which could be a problem. If it's a straightforward stay in the US, you were in the US when you got married. You didn't just enter for the purposes of getting married and adjusting status. Those are all very difficult areas to deal with. But if you're already here, like a student or an H1B, got married to a US citizen, it's a genuine marriage, you're living together. Um, I think advance parole and passport is all you should need.
Okay. Can I travel if I get F1 visa appointment in August?
So he had some facts about when his visa was expiring. So the problem, Munazir ji, is that the problem is not that you are getting appointment, you are not getting. The problem is, are you going to get a visa?
Mm.
Because the standards of evaluation have changed. You got evaluated during Biden administration. Trump has an executive order that says everybody has to follow my commands on visa issuance. And if you don't, you lose your job.
Mm.
I've talked about that.
Yeah.
What did she say? What is
It's his book, I think.
Sardala?
Sardala.
I don't even know what that means. Sardala. Never heard. I'm a Punjabi guy. I've never heard that word.
Okay, back to questions. Follow up. If company sponsoring, on which work visa do you go to Canada? And if promoted in Canada for a year, can you apply for L1A requirements, please?
Okay, so I don't know what visa in Canada. I don't work on the Canadian side. But you have to work at least full 1 year, let's call it 366 days on as a manager. So if you went as a technical person and 6 months later you got promoted to a manager, now you have to wait 1 year from that promotion. That's how it works.
Okay. I-20 start date as September 2, 2024. My university has advised me to begin attending classes starting July 1st, 2024. University is fully aware of this. I have reinstatement process. Can I mention it in RFE?
I started is September 2nd. They've has advised me to begin attending classes July 1. So during reinstatement, you are supposed to be attending classes. I don't know if that's what you're asking me. Yashvi ji, now I'm also confused with this name. Yashasvi is what I'm used to.
Yashvi. It's not Yashvi. Yashvi.
Yashvi, yeah, Yash as in fame, right? You have no idea what Yash means, do you?
No.
Time for some Hindi lessons, young man. Anyhow, Yashvi ji, so you're right. It is Yashvi. It couldn't be Yashvi. I don't know what you're asking me, but if you're asking me, can I be starting classes when I'm during reinstatement or I'm in reinstatement? Yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
Okay. Friend got detained. He left USA. He has 10,000 credit card debt and 10,000 loan. What are the options? Does he need to pay from India? Will bank managers file a case?
I don't know the mind of the bank managers. Doubtful. If I were the lawyer and they told me there's a $10,000 due from somebody in India, I would say write it off.
I am on F1 OPT and it expires in September 2025. Is it okay to travel to India in June on my F1 OPT?
See, remember we just talked about this multiple times that if your history is clear, you have an OPT job, you've been doing that job, it's in your field, you can prove it, you can prove your history, you have pay stubs, W-2s, whatever is involved, and you're coming back to that job, you have proof of that. It's okay to travel, right? But is it guaranteed it will be uneventful? I can't say that.
Yeah. I'm a dentist and my OPT is expiring. Apparently, the CIP code is not STEM eligible. Anything I can do to get STEM extension?
No. This is the weirdest thing, that dentists are not supposed to be STEM. What? What? It is what it is. No, Raviji, you can't get a STEM extension.
Isn't that science anyway? Like,
No, it
I
is.
don't
It is hardcore science. What are
know.
the mechanics? I mean,
तो
are we?
biology आ जाता ना, तो biology is also
Oh
science.
no,
But
this
anyway,
is hardcore studies. This is not dentistry. Is science. What the hell? It should be basic medical science, if not nothing else.
right. Yeah. Did Trump administration latest immigration policy impact EB1A and EB1C application in short term or long term?
Everything is impacted in the long term, because this is just what, 80 days into this administration. We still have 3+ years to go. But
Mm.
remember, there's going to be midterm elections next year. If they lose the House, things will be different. I don't think they'll lose the Senate, but and
Mm.
people are just sick and tired of this. At least that's in my world.
Yeah.
I don't know. People who voted him in really are sick and tired. I can't say.
Yeah.
So a long-term impact, I think there will be. EB1A has always been the most difficult one to predict and to win. Every time we file a case, we have no idea what's going to happen. EB1Cs are very easy to predict, almost all going through. EB1As are like, okay, what's going to happen? We don't know.
Okay. I'm transitioning from H1B to F1 visa. My semester starts on May 2nd, 2025. Unemployment days end on May 4th. I will be filing I-539 before May 4th. Can I still take classes while change of status is processing?
I have no idea what we are talking about. So unemployment days ends at, I think he's talking about 60 days grace period.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming that it's a 60-day grace period. So can I start while I'm still on H1B and H1B grace period? To the best of my knowledge, yes. So the rule is, if you are going from visa X to F1 and visa X allows you to study, you can start studying even while change of status from X to F1 is pending. In your case, X is equal to H1B.
And on H1B, you are allowed to study. So
Exactly. So there should be no problem. Double check with your school, because even in that 60-day grace period, you are still on H1B. That's a continuation of your H1B. It should have all the rights that you normally would. Double check with your DSO. Law is not common sense. We can only try to apply common sense and hope for the best, but this
it's
is not written down anywhere.
the weirdest thing. It's interpretation. So, like, how one interprets the law. I wish it
But
was
that's
like
why it's a good idea to take into confidence the people who are in charge of your service. Even though government is now saying, well, service is not really, it has nothing to do with status. It's like, that's not what you've been saying for 20 years. Okay, now all of a sudden in court they want to say, oh, service is no big deal. You can do reinstatement also. They can do how can you do reinstatement? It's the same agency or the same Department of
yeah.
Homeland Security, which says it's our discretion to give reinstatement or not. Also, reinstatement should not be for criminal activities. It can't be. It has to be circumstances beyond your control. We don't check mark any of those boxes. How do I get reinstatement? The words they use is criminal activities. They don't say criminal convictions. Even if I'm acquitted, they can charge me with criminal activities and say, no, you were involved in criminal activities. The police report says so, even if you were acquitted.
Mm. Mm.
So, therefore, talk to your DSO. We think you're okay. I think you're okay. I keep saying we. You're not a lawyer. I have to remember that.
Royal we. Royal we.
Yeah, the royal. And by the way, we forgot about the disclaimers. He's not
Yeah.
responsible for me. I'm not responsible for him. We are two independent people. If he blows up his kitchen, that's his problem, not mine. He has his own viewpoints. I have mine. Also, this does not create attorney-client relationship. And whatever I tell you could be wrong. I do my best, but I'm not perfect.
You're almost perfect.
Except to my little sister.
Right. On H1B, on H1B was working for a firm in LA, California. Got laid off last week. Last day of work, March 21st. Last day of separation, May 19th. That is last day on regular wage payroll. Will my 60 days start? When will my 60 days start? Okay.
So the way the USCIS policy manual talks about this is normally, and I don't know what that word means. Normally, we compute your grace period to begin from when your pay period ends. It has to be full pay. So if you were paid till May 19th, your regular payroll, May 20th should be the start date of your 60 days, even though you stopped working in March.
Oh, okay. So May 19th, huh? Okay. I'm traveling to India this summer. I am in sophomore year.
Sophomore, two word,
Yeah.
one word.
There shouldn't be any issues, right? I'm going in May and returning in June.
You are on F1, I'm assuming. As long as you've been attending school, there is no other negative factors. You have a visa stamp. It should be okay, and especially if you're going during summer, that's normal, right?
Yashvi says it's mentioned that my started classes from 1st September, but DSO told me to start from 1st July onwards. Both dates are contradicting. Should I have
Yeah,
to clarify or not in RFE? My I-20 issued is on 2nd July.
yeah. You have to clarify this, Yashviji. So just and preferably by email. I would like to know what's going on. This makes no sense.
Okay. Done MS in data science from NYU. Now on first year of OPT, want to travel to India for a wedding. Should I travel or not? Considering done right now doing a job as a teaching assistant for 6 months. What's your opinion, sir?
So Sahilji, when you said going to India for wedding, is it yours? Okay, that's the first question I would like to know. If it is yours, obviously you have to be there, right? It can't be celebrated in your absence.
They could postpone it if it's his and they're like, okay, maybe it's too risky.
I OPT. Are you close to the end of your OPT? Are you close
6
to the
months.
middle?
6 months.
Is 6
Um,
months into OPT? Teaching assistant. He's been teaching assistant for 6 months, but how long have you had your OPT?
it doesn't tell that. Yeah.
So if you're in the middle of your OPT and you are traveling,
Yes, sir. Matlab, I'm assuming yes is for his
yes,
own way.
this question, yes, right. So Sahil, this is a ridiculous system, man. It's so annoying. I can't talk to people. I have no idea what we are doing. So uh, they don't have any live streaming of questions and answers, right?
आज किसका किस StreamYard, the platform? Yeah, no, they don't. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So, bhai, if there is enough time left on your OPT and you have a clean history and you can prove your history and you can prove that you have a job and you come back, go get married.
He's saying yes for OPT and also for wedding. So congratulations on getting married. And looks like 6 months on OPT. So he has 6 months left.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is as safe as you can get. But unless Trump comes looking for you.
Yeah. Okay. Last 3-4 questions, Rajiv, and then please don't send any super chat. We will not be able to answer them.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I apply for OPT after requested start date on my I-20 if my OPT I-20 is still within 30-day validity period?
To the best of my knowledge, Suchitra ji, yes. And where you want to go for this silly little calculations, let me see if I can find the page.
Okay.
So I'm going to share. This is definitely one of my favorite sites. It's still not as updated as I like it to be, but it's the law. Whatever it says, there is the law, unless they say it otherwise. So this is maintained by the Department of Homeland Security. It's called studyinthestates.gov. Well, this one is It says right here, you see, official website of the Homeland
Department of,
Security.
yeah.
Okay. Now you go to students and you go to training opportunities. It should tell you how to apply for OPTN. So it talks about optional practical training, curricular practical training. So I hope it has all the information. In order to apply for OPT, you must get approval from your DSO. They make a recommendation by endorsing I-20. Then you must file 765, etc., etc. They have, and you can also go to the STEM OPT page. And actually, this information should also be on the USCIS main site, which might be better. Let's go there also, because it doesn't have the clear calculation of the number of days. So this is USCIS policy manual. We go to non-immigrants and we go to students, and it should be practical training right here. CPT, OPT. Post-completion OPT. Obtain a DSO's recommendation, properly file the form. Time limitations, 12 months. So here it is. Post-completion begins on the date USCIS adjudicates the employment authorization request or the date the DSO requests, whichever is later. A student may not request a start date which is more than 60 days after the program end date. So that's the first deadline. Must complete all practical training within 14-month period following the completion of study. So there are all these regulations, and actually schools have some schools have their calculator-like thing.
Yeah.
So go to these websites, and then, of course, you can talk to your DSO directly and ask them what they recommend. Okay. So there are three different time periods you have to comply with.
Okay. All right. I'm on H1B since November 2024. Indian passport expires 2026. POE officer noted validity until passport expiry. What are my next steps?
So two obvious things you can do. You can apply for an extension like you normally would an H1B, or you can just step outside the US if you still have a visa stamp, and carry both your old and the new passport. When you come back into the US, even if you go for a cup of coffee outside USA and come back, they should give you the I-94, which is coextensive with your approval notice, H1B approval notice.
Okay. Changed my employer, Desi consultant. Do I need experience letter, any letters from him to file I-140? He isn't even responding to my call, mails. I have based up offer letter.
Yeah, so this is an important issue. I want to address it for students or all professionals. It takes a couple of minutes extra. I'd like to do it anyway. So first of all, you don't need to document all your experience for green card or H1B. You don't need letters from all the employers. You only need letters enough to cover the period that is being required as a part of your job. So if I say require masters with 3 years experience, you have 11 years of experience. Do you have to document all 11? No, just 3 years. And it doesn't matter which 3 years. As long as you can document 3 years with the required skills that are needed. Okay. So you don't need to document everything. You may not need this guy. One. Number two, sometimes when the company has gone out of business, where do I get letters from? So in those cases, talk to your lawyers. They might be able to get secondary evidence, like affidavits or statements from people who were your supervisors while you worked there, or even sometimes with co-workers, sometimes from end clients. Okay. So that's how you do it.
Okay. I am applying for F1 fully funded PhD, University of Michigan from Canada as a TCN. Any issue? Did masters in McGill, Canada, and currently working here.
Yeah, that's a good university, McGill. I went to University of Ottawa. So, Sauravji, no, I came from Canada. I got my student visa from Canada, by the way. So I'm very much in your situation. I was doing my master's, then I got a student visa for a second master's here in USA. So I applied for my student visa in Canada. You should be able to, but there's no guarantee that they'll take your application. Or they could say, look, we can't really judge your background. You have to go back to India and apply. That's not a negative mark. You can still do it. But I think it's a little bit of a schmucky move for them to make you do that. But who knows?
What
Online, try it.
What does TCN mean?
Third country national. I don't live. I'm not a national of Canada, but I'm applying from Canada.
Gotcha. Got it. Okay. All right.
So whenever you go to any country other than your home country, you are a TCN.
TCN. Okay. Yeah. Right. Laid off with H1B cap exempt. Apply for B2 visa. It gets time to approve within this timeline. If I get a job, so can my employer eligible to file H1B again after B2 approval? Can they file petition?
Yeah, absolutely. Google my name, Rajiv S. Khanna, Economic Times. And my most recent article is about this, how to convert to B2 and then back to H1B.
But in this case, cap exempt doesn't matter or no?
Doesn't matter. It's the same law.
Okay.
As long as you're going back to the cap exempt, of course. You can't switch to a cap employer.
So the condition in his case has to be cap exempt. Otherwise,
it can be any cap exempt. Doesn't have to be the same employer, but cap exempt because you haven't gone through the lottery, right?
Yeah. Okay. Last question. I am traveling to Thailand on May 2nd. I'm currently on STEM OPT. My STEM OPT recently got approved on March 2025. During my STEM OPT process, received RFE. However, proved my past experience.
Okay. So, Munichi, carry all that with you. Proof of already working on STEM OPT as well as continued employment on STEM OPT. Carry your W-2s. If you don't have W-2s covering a certain pay period, carry your pay stubs for that period.
Nice.
One of these days, I think I want to sit down and just do a marathon. Answer all the questions.
We will have to sit long time. Yes.
I talk from 7 to 12 every day. 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Actually 12. Aaj to 12:30 tha. Every day.
We can do it. Yeah.
5 hours is never a problem for me. And that's non-stop.
Yeah.
So I actually look at Senator Cory Booker, who spoke for 25 hours and 5 minutes. And I say, if he can do it for 24 hours, I can do it for 5 or even 10.
Yeah. We can try.
I feel like many times we are not able to talk to people, and it just sucks. How do people get queued up? Is it first come, first serve? How do they?
Usually it's first come, first serve unless someone pays. Then if they pay, then
it's within that queue also. It's first come, first serve, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So there's a certain equity in it. So that's good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, chalo. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Rajiv ji.
Take care, guys. Best of luck, everyone. Hang in there.